Coming to you live from deep within a muddy, radioactive wasteland, we are the survivors of the social justice zombie apocalypse. The few, the brave, the bitchy, once more wading into battle against the zombie herds with Rantzerker 62, epic ad battle of history, Special K versus X. And I'm going to go make sure I've got all of my things silenced before something untoward happens. Yes, alright, good. We're good to go. Today's show is going to be a little bit different. We are going to compare two things, one of which sucks and the other does not suck. So, my cohorts are in stunned silence.
In the humble opinion of us.
In the humble opinion of us, yes. Our humble opinions, because we are very so humble. All right, let's begin this thing, as it were. Oh, before we begin, actually, now that it occurs to me, we have a fundraiser to bring myself, Brian, and our filmographer to the International Conference for Men's Issues #2 in the UK, and we are also going to be arranging some meetups separate from the event for our UK listeners. So if you're from the UK and you want us to go to the UK, and so you can have an opportunity to meet us, then you might want to go to our fundraiser at www.feedthebadger.com and throw a few shekels in the hat. I've also given myself the ultimatum that if we do not make the minimum amount of the fundraiser, which is $8,500, in about 4 days, I will be sending an email to Man Boobs, that is David Futrell, and publicly humiliating myself by taking responsibility for my abject failure to get us to that goal. I've already started to compose the letter. Believe me, it's quite disheartening to do so. So if you want to save me from myself, please do go and throw some shekels in the hat. Yeah. And I'll be announcing. I believe we'll be able to manage 2 meetups separate from the actual event. One in London and the other one in Newstead Abbey. So if you want to see us and you're in the UK, now is the time. And believe me, if you can only pitch in $5, it matters. Now is the time. Now is the time to get us to the UK. So www.feedme. Freudian slip. No, that isn't actually feed me. You know,
feed me, Seymour.
www.feedthebadger.com. Feed us. Okay. All right. So that we might feed you our delicious mental pellets of mentalness.
Or something.
Was that really? Yeah, or something.
I'm just like thinking of a gigantic plant that looks like a sort of like a Venus flytrap. You know, eating.
Yeah, my husband actually purchased some Venus flytraps.
Eating a sadistic dentist. Just swallow.
Yeah, well, probably that's not going to happen, but hopefully we will get to the UK, and that will be fun. But yeah, it's like
It could be your last chance to see the badgers. It could be the last chance to cross the borders before some crazy thing happens after today or something. Rah rah, fear-mongering rah.
Okay, yeah, it's something horrible could happen, like the whole world could be hit by a meteorite, and definitely it's more important.
Or if Britain votes to leave the European Union, they could get nuked. So we never know.
All right. With those cheery thoughts in mind, let's begin this ad. Once again, just for anybody who's tuning in who doesn't know what the hell we do, I do have to stop it every 20 seconds, and we'll make some commentary, some snide commentary while YouTube still allows snide commentary. Yeah. Jesus, it really feels like free speech, like the absence of free speech is closing in on every quarter, huh?
It kind of does. I can't hear it. It's
You
mute.
can't hear it?
I'm not hearing it either.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, seriously? Are we gonna do this? Are we gonna have the massive fucking technical problems?
We're gonna have an issue.
We're gonna have an issue. Yeah. Just a second. Let me see if I can fix it really quickly. Okay. All right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes or no? You can hear me. All right. At least we have that. Now let's find out if we can hear the actual ad.
Fact.
Can you hear the actual ad?
97% of women have.
Yes?
Yep.
It's nice and loud,
Okay,
yes.
all right. Okay, all right. So we can go forward. Sorry, folks, but this is what happens when, we have no technical team in the background helping us out with the technical stuff, and we are all artists.
We need a not gay Jared. We need
yeah, or whatever Karen said.
Like Steven Crowder has. That's what we need.
Okay, we need a lot of things, but we don't need this particular commercial.
Fact. 97% of women have an I hate my body moment.
All right. Was this based on a survey? Citation needed. What survey was this based on? Why isn't it like 100%? Like nobody's ever had a flu?
Or being through
that
puberty?
moment?
How do you get through puberty and not think I hate my body at some point?
Well, no, they say that if you go a little further, they have an I hate my body moment every single day. Right?
Okay.
So 97% of women apparently have a moment where they hate their body every single day. Now, granted, I have moments when I hate clothing manufacturers and I hate shoe manufacturers in particular, right? Because it's very, very difficult for me to find clothes that fit me properly, right? And particularly shoes, but that's not, I don't hate my feet. I just hate the fact that it's difficult to find shoes that don't hurt my feet. I don't hate the fact that I have long legs. I just hate the fact that a 30 or 31-inch inseam is standard for women, and to get a 33-inch inseam is next to impossible. I don't hate the fact that I have big boobs and broad shoulders. I just hate the fact that 90% of the jackets that are made for women with shoulders as broad as mine and a bust as wide as mine fit like a fucking army tent, right? Like I hate that the system does not accommodate my body, but I don't hate my body.
Yeah, well, I have those moments, and I remind myself, or my husband does, that, it's vanity. You make your decisions in life. What are you going to focus on? Are you going to focus on being like, and there's issues too. Like even when I have been at my skinniest, all that seemed to accomplish is I look like a fucking not like I have the body that it's either fat or bony. I can't seem to find that thin line. It's like a shower where you have like a millimeter between hot and cold. It's like these are my two choices, fat or bony. But you know what? It's just hilarious. I just find it's my best moments are like, oh, Jesus fucking Christ, that's funny. And you know what? It doesn't fucking matter.
Oh man.
Because you know what? Everybody ends up being maggoty.
Yeah, well,
go ahead, Karen.
I look at how my boyfriend has had to change his attitude toward his body, right? Like he essentially, when I met him, he had been, taking an engineering degree for 3.5 years at that point, and not really working out as much as he used to. He used to play hockey, sort of in that highest level of amateur that you get to before you go semi-pro, and so he'd always had this very muscular, very a body that really was nice to look at, right? And when I met him, that had been going away for about 3.5 years because he just didn't have time to work out. And he used to actually angst about that, but then the disorder that he's had since he was 8 that has only been sort of not specifically diagnosed. We know the class of disorders that he has. We don't know which particular one. And he's on a treatment at the moment that keeps his symptoms under control. But, it's now at the point where, that little bit of chub around his waist, the hair on his back, the fact that he's losing the hair, it's actually migrating from the top of his head down onto the back of his shoulders, really, is if you want to get technical. Is just marching, a steady march down. None of that really concerns him anymore. What concerns him is, has my severe fatty infiltration of my liver that this disorder causes, has that receded since I went on treatment? Has my enlarged spleen gone down? How many times a week do I go into anaphylaxis, right? How much does my body hate me, right? And how many times a week does it actively try to kill me because I dared to drink bottled water, and the bottled water company didn't rinse the sulfites out of the bottles when they were sanitizing them well enough, right? So I ended up drinking sulfites, and now I'm like covered in hives and my tongue is swelling up, right? That's what he has, and all of that has really put a lot of things in perspective for him as far as what his body looks like. Now, all he wants is a functional body every day. All he wants is a body that will reliably get him to work, get him through a day of work, get him home, and not land him in the hospital. That is all that he desires and requests and requires of his body. And right now he has that, and he feels wonderful, right? And I think a lot of these women who seem to like take issue with every single tiny little flaw, that is really just vanity. Everybody's bum gets dimply, for fuck's sake, right? Okay, everybody's bum, including men's bums, they get dimply. Okay, get over it.
This is when having, developed wisdom and agency and a sense of purpose and something beyond being attractive or vulnerable it's of use to women. That this at that point, because we all end up at that point. And what happens if you are just a whiny drama queen when you're 75, 85? Nobody wants to be around you. Guess what? You're stuck in a home, and nobody wants to visit you.
You know what my mom did with my grandmother? Because my grandmother used to do all this stuff, right? Like, because she was, her husband died when he was 71, and she outlived him by 28 years. And so for a while there, she was, oh, I just want to go to sleep and I don't ever want to wake up. Oh, and you'd buy her some bath beads or something for her birthday, and she'd say, oh, this is just wonderful, but you keep them, dear. I'll be dead in a year. I won't be able to use them, right? Okay, and my mother finally just told her, okay, Mom, you have two choices, okay? Shut up or die, okay? Because I'm not going to listen to it anymore, okay? And my grandmother was like, she's right. I should probably not dwell on this, right? Yeah, no, like nobody wants to be around somebody who's like that all the time.
Yeah, and ultimately the real solution here is any woman who's listening to this and saying, yeah, this is my problem. Yeah, you do need to own it. You need to own your thoughts, and if you want to change them, and you don't necessarily have to change your body, but if you want to change your thoughts, then you have to do the work to change how you think about yourself. And don't whine to other people, because they're not going to help you. If you're a fat ass, they will most likely point it out. But if you're a fat ass and you've changed your thoughts about yourself, they're probably much less likely to point it out, and when they do, you won't care, okay? Or you can lose weight, because you're probably not healthy, lady. You're probably dealing with not just fat on your body, but also fat in your liver, which will kill you. But that's your own choice, and if you want to own it, then change your thoughts, or change your thoughts and lose weight, and then you'll be both healthy and mentally and physically. So there you go. And I just wanted to say, that I hate my body moment, I've never had worse I hate my body moments than when I've been in the depths of a really fucking bad flu, and your throat, like that spot behind your nose is so fucking sore and in pain, and you cough and nothing comes out. That moment? I'm sure there's even worse moments in terms of health. And that, for me, sometimes that moment has lasted like 9 months.
The sinus infection.
And believe me.
The sinus infections that I had a couple of times where I walked into a walk-in clinic and I just walked up to the counter and they could actually see that my skull was swollen. right? Like that my cheekbones and my forehead were projecting out from the pressure in my sinuses. That like the bones in my fucking face were different than they just they were like, we'll just get you in right away. Yeah, you don't have to wait for 2 hours like everybody else. We'll just get you in right away. That is just, you just want to kill yourself. You literally want to take a fucking drill with a nice, beautiful fucking drill bit, beautifully, and just fucking drill into your own skull to let the pressure out. Right? That's an I hate my body moment.
Yeah, and it, like, even those moments where I'm like, oh my god, look at the fat on my thighs, fucking fat on my thigh, what the fuck, you know, those moments don't actually compare to the misery. And the idea of being in like a terminal illness and that misery just never ending, oh, you got it lucky, lady. Look at you. You're able to get out, you're able to be active, you're able to take part in this something Jazzercise maybe thing. Be happy. Shut the fuck up about your whining. Either change your thoughts, change your body, change both, but use your actions to affect change in your life. This is what this whole commercial is so annoying. And I'm trying not to be dark and aggressive and stubborn. But what annoys me most about this whole commercial is it is promoting a particular attitude for women as normal. This is not a normal attitude. This kind of defeatist, I'm a victim of some wibbly wobbly beauty ideal shit. No, the one person who's responsible for your thoughts is you. 97% of women have an I hate body moment. 97% of women are responsible for the fact they have an I hate body moment. Change it. Change it yourself. Okay. Mike?
Yeah, there's something sort of conveniently relativistic about their use of the word hate here. I wonder how they're assessing it for the sake of this survey, and it's hard to say. But like, when you, for instance, if you agitate to legally prevent men from speaking or interrupting or spreading their legs or entering your safe space, that's not hate. But when you remember that you have a body and that this body has an imperfection on it, that's you hating yourself. The bar by which you measure hate appears to be somewhat movable, somewhat retractable. Namely, any inconvenience to you, no matter how small, is hatred, even if it comes from yourself. And every legal discrimination forced upon the other is not hatred, even when it comes from you.
Yeah. No, I would
That's
agree.
a really fucking good point. Since we've done like sucking Mike's dick, let's continue.
Every single day. Think about that. That's a lot of women, almost all of us, looking in the mirror, wanting to change something. Boobs, skin, arms, legs, hips.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm just going to go back to that wedding image. I remember my wedding day. You know, I'm not a skinny woman by any and I definitely do not have a perfect body. In fact, this woman has a significantly better body than me. I remember my fucking wedding day. I don't think I thought about my dress or my body once. It was basically a blur because, you know, I have a social anxiety. I had to get through the whole ceremony. I think I was crying through like 95% of it. And I didn't even expect that. Like, when I started crying, I was like, what just happened? What's happening here? Why am I crying? And it was like just the emotions. And my body, at that point in time, my body was just basically a thing, or not a thing, but like a vehicle getting me through the day. The amount of emotions that I felt about the person, the man I was marrying, the fact that my family, like my whole family and his whole family was there, everybody was there, all the, you know, the cool stuff, like we had these little lizards on our cake, which was awesome, and, you know, like, and it was just so much happening. I didn't have a single moment to worry about my body. And it just makes me wonder about this particular woman.
I don't know. Like
At her wedding... Sorry, go ahead.
Well, she's trying on wedding dresses is the thing. Right?
Oh,
So
okay. Oh, all right. So she's trying them on.
her wedding, she's trying to find a wedding dress that she likes, right? Which is next to impossible, and that's why I wore jeans, cowboy boots, and a button-up men's shirt to my wedding, right? Is because I knew I wasn't going to find a wedding dress that I liked, because there is no dress that I like. But you know.
Yeah. Well, in my case, I went to 2 stores and I chose, I think, the third dress I wore, or I put on, because it wasn't that important. Nor
Yeah.
was fitting it in a particular way that important.
Yeah, no, and
But
with me, my wedding, it wasn't a wedding with guests. I mean, like we were at the Justice of the Peace's living room. Her sister, her husband, and her sister-in-law were our witnesses. So,
mm-hmm.
And we didn't have anybody there. So that's how I got married, because it was the actual commitment that was the important thing. It was not it wasn't a party. It wasn't like, making it into a big freaking thing. It was big enough. It was big enough that I almost fell down the fucking porch steps leaving her house. Just with the enormity of, I just fucking promised to spend the rest of my life with this person, and I did as much as possible. I lived up to that, as much as humanly possible. But like it just the sort of the showmanship of it wasn't the point, right? And looking like a a princess wasn't the point for me.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at. I mean, even if this is just a fitting, it sort of speaks of a mentality here of what she values about the event.
Well,
and it's not. You can say, oh yeah, all of the advertisers are telling her the way she should look, but ultimately it's her responsibility, the thoughts she thinks and what she values. And she values herself as the center, and she's not living up to her vision of being the delicate rose at the center of everything. Well, maybe you're just a part of something bigger. And when you understand that, you sort of let go of the idea of what you should look like as that delicate rose at the center. I might be too harsh on her, so I'm going to let you speak, Karen.
I think like there is something to be said for sort of feeling like you have to look good and not finding clothes that are flattering on you or whatever, right?
Yeah, but what are they presenting here? Like, she looks fine.
I know, she looks gorgeous, and that dress is beautiful, and she's got that tiny, tiny little bit of a little bit of abdomen there, right? But the ruching on the dress beautifully disguises it, and and the ruching on the bust.
Yeah, so at this point, considering how fabulous she looks, the problem is her thoughts. And the only person who has any responsibility over those is her.
And the kind of people who make adverts like this.
Yeah, I don't know if they have a responsibility.
I didn't know what a ruche was.
Well, go ahead.
Now I know what a ruche is. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What is a ruche?
With clothes, with anything, perfect is the enemy of good, right? Like, I have a muffin top. I will always have a muffin top, even when I was skinny, even when I had like 4% body fat, I had a muffin top. It's just the way my body is shaped, right? That the waist of any normal pair of pants is not going to sit at my natural waist, because my natural waist is essentially right under my armpits, right? That's just the way it is. I can live with that, right? Like, it's not that big a deal for me. It's, I just want pants that'll stay up. If I don't have to pull them up every 5 minutes, then I'm good. I'm fine with that. Like, fuck, just expect is the enemy of good. Like, how can you be satisfied with yourself if all you want is perfection?
Yeah, and the thing is that the other thing, what these commercials did, take off of Mike's point, because maybe I shut him down too harshly, but what these commercials do is they are presenting a woman who is probably, I didn't get a good look at her face, but I'm judging from her body, like, if we want to use numbers, she's probably at least a solid 8, maybe even a 9. And she has a problem with her body. So what this commercial actually, and probably very intentionally, is doing is saying to every woman who doesn't even measure up to this, and this is what's so funny, is because these commercials, they always use attractive women who are in reality very attractive women, and they say, these women have insecurities. Why don't you? why you should have insecurities too. That's what these fucking articles or these commercials are saying. Now, I won't say that women do not have absolute responsibility for how they think about themselves. In this case, this woman who should not be upset at all is upset. And she has the responsibility to change her if she doesn't like her, and she usually doesn't like the thoughts she's thinking, you have to change them, dear. Oh, no one else can. No one can reach into your brain and change them until we develop, like, I don't know, some sort of psionic surgery. That's not going to happen. So it's your responsibility to change them. But, it's like, insofar as these commercials, where the fuck was I going with this? I'm sorry, guys. I just completely lost the thread.
That the commercial itself is trying to impose an insecurity on women, but ultimately women have the choice to feel insecure or not. It's
totally taking away women's agency in all this. It's saying that this is how women should. It's modeling this for women, this kind of insecurity, even in women who are attractive and should know better. At this point, this commercial should be saying, "Lady, look at you. Correct your thoughts and stop whining." But instead, it's indulging this and saying that this is appropriate behavior for women. An adult woman. This is an adult. Look at this. This is an adult woman. This is an adult woman. Right here. Look at this. Look at this whimpering little child face. This is what an adult woman. This is how Special K models an adult woman. Look at that. Look at that. Fucking hell. This is what Special K thinks adult women should do. Let's continue. Unless you guys want to add to that, because I don't want to like.
Let's move on.
I presume it's what they are doing. Presumably they go to some kind of organization of women to say what are women's problems? What are the things women think about? Real women. What are the issues that they want addressed? And the first thing they hear is, women are insecure about their bodies. So they try to make an advert like this to make them less insecure about their bodies. But they're sort of going about it the wrong way, and I think that's where your explanation clarifies things.
They're normalizing insecurity. They're saying that
they're normalizing
is normal, and and it's a little bit different. Like when you say like everybody has insecurities, and the best you can do is the best you can do, and you're just going to have to be satisfied with that. There's a big difference between saying that and essentially sort of implying that like this is a major problem. This insecurity that almost all women have is like a major problem for women, and something external needs to happen in order to solve it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's all externalized. This is acceptable behavior for an adult woman. This is acceptable behavior for an adult woman. This is acceptable behavior for an adult woman according to Special K. And we have to do something about it external, and we can't say, women, you're an adult. You're now responsible for your thoughts. Change them. I mean, it's like it's easier said than done, but what gets me is that men have as many insecurities as women, but you never see men doing this. And the reason why is because they're held to a standard of adulthood. Like, men have like tons and tons of insecurities about their bodies. If you actually listen to men, just as many as women. But you will never see a man in a suit store crying into his fucking ascot or whatever thing you put around the tie. You'll never see that. Because men are expected to be adults about it. They're expected to, if they have those insecurities, not trouble other people with them.
Yeah, well, when we ask ourselves where does their insecurity come from, the answer is immediate. It's coming from themselves, of course, and they should sort it out. But when we discover that women are insecure about their bodies, we somehow think it's viable to ask, well, where is this insecurity coming from? What with it obviously not being the women themselves? It must be coming from societal pressures. And that's what we have to focus on, and that's not going to make it even worse for women if we blame someone else for their insecurities.
Yeah. All right. It's all the fault of the male gaze.
Boobs, skin, arms, legs, hips, hair. We believe 100% of women can change something more important than the size of...
Notice how every single woman they're using is attractive. Like, by far. Well, except for the older ones, They all, they all fit into...
Even for an older woman, that older woman was actually not bad.
Yeah, it's like they're essentially using models and saying, hey, these women are insecure about themselves and they look like fucking models. I mean, maybe they're on the small side of the plus market models, but they all look like fucking models. Well, what about you, you fucking average schlubs? What are you going to do?
The one in the Jazzercise class, she actually, I'm guessing, would not qualify as a model, just because she doesn't have the waist to hip ratio. Like even size 16 models, and they end up having that the waist to hip ratio that men tend to find more attractive. So that's, and women find it more attractive as well. So there was one who actually had a realistic body that just does not conform to any degree
one
society would deem to be, at least the bare minimum of attractiveness.
Except Polynesian societies.
So
well, even there, they still have the waist to hip ratio. They just like chubby chicks, right? But they still want the hourglass figure. They still want the hips to be wider than the waist, not the waist to be wider than the hips. So.
All right.
But we can change our perspective. What if we tell that little voice inside that tells us we aren't good enough to shut up? Let's focus on stuff we can act.
Okay, just pausing due to the banana. Actually, this is more positive.
I like this now. I do. I like this. Tell the voice inside to shut up, right? Like just.
Well, I mean, that's not really a fun. I'll say that it's a positive message, but it's also not incredibly functional, because you can't just tell the voice inside you to shut up. You actually have to train yourself to think in other ways, which is possible. I mean, lots of people think that that's not possible, but it is possible. I know, because that's how I overcame most of a severe anxiety disorder that left me confined to my house. Is I had to, and it was an excruciating process. Like, every day, I had to train myself to think in a different way, every single day. And I had to catch the thoughts that were the catastrophic thoughts about leaving my house, and I had to correct them, and I had to do it in a way that was gentle and not self-condemning. So, I mean, you can say tell that little voice to shut up, but probably a better way of approaching it would be a little more complicated. Say to them, start working on ways to be more positive, to say more positive things about your body. And when you catch yourself having that negative thought, you can't say something like, oh, I'm so bad for having that negative thought, and then beat yourself up more about it, or even beat up the negative thought. You need to thank the process I would use is I would recognize that I acknowledge and congratulate myself that I had recognized the negative thought, and then I would amend it, and then amplify the amendment. So, you might say something like, oh, I see, I'm now thinking a negative thought about my body. I have recognized that I'm thinking this negative thought. That's great. Good job recognizing that you're thinking that negative thought. I might change where I'm sitting so that I'm not a movement change is sort of like an escape from the negative thought, and then you amend it and you say, I'm going to think something more positive about this situation or my body, and then you amplify that positive thought, and then you're good to go. Because the problem is that if you beat yourself up about negative thoughts, or if you start yelling at them like you're suggesting here, that only reinforces this. Now, I want to give Special K the benefit of the doubt that they're actually advocating something that's going to reinforce what they're saying to get rid of. But, these people they do benefit from psychology and all kinds of focus groups and all kinds of other stuff, that they do have the research. So before, and I appreciate what you're saying, Karen, but before we say, hey, this is really positive, we have to realize that what they're actually advocating is going to reinforce the dynamic, because there's two aspects to it. there is the negative thought, and then punishing yourself for the negative thought, which actually reinforces the negative thinking. And yelling at this negative voice and treating it like it's separate from yourself is probably going to reinforce it over time. Now, I don't know if Spatial K knows that they're advocating something that's going to make these women's mental health issues worse, but Spatial K probably spent how much on this ad? 50 million, 10 million? Do you think they could have spent a little bit to understand the psychology of negative thinking so that they would advocate something that isn't going to make it worse? I'm just putting it out there.
No idea.
Sorry. No idea.
No idea. Honestly, they're trying to sell a product. They're trying to sell a solution. So.
Yeah, of course. They're trying to sell a solution. They're not interested in actually ending the problem. And I know this might be a little bit rarefied, and people in the comments, if you think I'm wrong, just go at me. But that's what I'm seeing. And it didn't, like, when they turned around and they said, yell at the voice, that's fine. But they're also exteriorizing the voice at the same time. They're giving women an option, but they're also saying that this voice isn't your voice. Well, it is your voice. And if you yell at yourself, and you're just increasing the negativity, and you're increasing the dynamic that's going to lead to this behavior continuing. Like if you yell at yourself, you're not going to.
Instead of being ashamed about your body, you're ashamed now about your thoughts about your body.
Well, yeah, and then you're also ashamed about your body because you're just piling on shame upon shame, and it all comes from that exteriorization of the internal voice. They're saying yell at that voice like it's something separate from yourself. It's not. It is you. And if you yell at it, you're just going to enhance it because it's basically you yelling at yourself. You can't yell at yourself more in order to stop yourself from yelling at yourself. I don't know. And like I said, they could be just pig ignorant about how negative thoughts work, or they really do just want to perpetuate this problem that they have a profit on. They take a profit on. And I'll let Mike, because he might actually disagree. So.
No, I'm pretty much saying the same thing as you. Yeah, tell that voice to shut up. Maybe snappy, sort of memorable advice. And it is recognizing the problem as sort of housed where it is in one's own head. But it creates two characters in your head, one talking and one saying shut up. That is often how it seems to work inside a head. Believe me, I understand. But to advise someone, tell that voice to shut up as advice, as a sort of mantra.
Hey guys, I might actually have a critical failure because my computer is
like the other person. Okay, can I finish?
Sorry guys, I really apologize for this. I'm working on a laptop that's dying because I can't really replace it yet. And I might actually just go dead in about 1, 2, 3 seconds maybe. Let's see if I can fix this really quick.
Can you find a power source?
Sorry guys. No, I have a power source. It's just my power source is failing on me. Right. This laptop is like been heavy use 4 years, and it's really sometimes has very questionable moments. And I wish I could replace it, but we're not quite there yet. And ironically, that this laptop is basically the control system right now for Honey Badger Radio. So I'm just nursing it through its dying days at the moment, and I really apologize. I'm looking at a 1% on my power bar, and I'm actually having to hold the cord right now to recharge it. So this is going to be interesting to manage everything. Okay, all right. Let me just get back here. Okay, I think with my hand on the power bar, I can manage to get through this. But if I die, that's why. Shall we continue?
Okay, Mike, do you want to finish your thought?
Yeah, well, my point was, when you train people to deal with the problem by telling that voice to shut up, it can end up as something you say to other people. Like the other person you're talking to becomes the voice you're yelling at. You find yourself telling other people to shut up because you've been taught to yell "shut up" to deal with your problems. There may be two characters in your head sometimes, but you have to remember to treat this as a problem of a single character. Don't tell yourself to shut up. Just don't say the thing. Just don't say the thing.
There you go. Allison?
Yeah, I'm just. Oh, this is actually sort of painful. Yeah, sure. I might. Somebody was saying, "Oh, I smell e-bagging." Well, unfortunately, you just smell reality. I have a dying laptop. Okay, let's go.
Actually change instead of stuff we can't. What if we're nicer to ourselves and put good things in our bodies? Let's be perfectly imperfect. Let's take a good long look in the mirror at the good and not so good.
Okay, I just got to pause it because of the potential.
Yeah.
Dang. And I just want to note that everybody here is actually everybody in this commercial doesn't really have much to go in terms of accepting themselves.
Good. And proudly own it all.
And it's our
Okay,
breakfast.
so that's.
You know, I don't mind that commercial. I really don't.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, accept that you're perfectly imperfect. You know, embrace the wabi-sabi. Embrace the wilted petal on the rose, the chip in the freaking the Buddhist's drinking bowl, right? Embrace it, right? You know, nobody's perfect. Just fucking live with it, deal with it, be happy. And put good things in your body. Now, I would argue that Special K is not a particularly good thing to put in your body. I don't think cereal is.
It's got a shitload of sugar in it. You wouldn't believe it. It's got more sugar in it than your average children's sort of sugar frosted whatever cereal.
Doesn't even matter how much sugar.
Yeah.
It's a grain. It's a grain. As such, it's not particularly good for you. Don't listen to the fucking Canada Food Guide or Canada Food Pyramid or whatever the fuck they call it now.
Oh, the kinetic.
Says you need like that the greatest number of servings of anything you need in a day is grains. No, you don't. And you only need a piece of meat the size, half the size of the palm of your hand. Yeah, no. That's not exactly the case either. And, you know, honestly, humans have only actually, like 14,000 years ago, the only humans who ate grain were humans who were starving. They were starving in the moment, and they were reduced to eating the things that their food eats. Right? That's so we've only been at the most, you know, maybe 10, 12,000 years getting our bodies used to eating grain. It's not a good thing. It causes type 2 diabetes if you eat too much of it. Just fucking avoid it if you can. Including Special K.
And the final analysis, I guess that ad wasn't too bad. It didn't really give you much functional to go on. Oh, for God's sake. Just stay plugged in. Okay. I won't touch anything now. Hopefully it'll not move. All right. So it wasn't that bad. I have a little bit of a concern that they're promoting the same thing that causes the problem in the first place. It's catastrophizing, essentially. They're saying, you know, you're catastrophizing about your body. You're looking at everything negative, and you're saying, oh, it's horrible. Well, the real way to prevent that kind of catastrophizing is not to yell at the voice or pretend that the voice is separate from you. Yell at that little voice. You're basically telling these women to yell at themselves. Well, that's catastrophizing about the little voice is not solving the problem of catastrophizing. A better solution, I think, would be in the ad that we're going to look at next, because it actually recognizes the flaw and then just says, you know, work with it. Don't focus on the flaw. Focus on what you do, what's good about you. And I mean, although this particular ad sort of does that, it doesn't really do it in very concrete terms, which is why I think that it increases the anxiety.
It spends a lot of time building up this whole idea of, you know, how oppressive women's thoughts and feelings about their bodies are before it sort of gives you the out. Whereas it seems like with the second ad, the Axe ad, the very first sentence is embrace your you, right? You know, you are you, be that, right? And work with what you got, and just always improve, right? It seems to be that like at least half of the message in the Special K ad was sort of this sympathizing with women's, oh, we understand how you feel. We understand where these feelings come from. We understand that that it's perfectly okay and normal to have these feelings. Okay, and
it's normalizing it.
Yeah, it really is. The first half of the ad was normalizing those feelings, right? Whereas with the Axe ad, it seemed to be like right from the fucking word go, right from the first 5 seconds, it was like, yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, well, it's normalizing the feeling, so it's telling women that this is normal, and it's normal behavior for a woman to just indulge in her insecurities in public like that, and not actually, that's not adult behavior. Crying like that at a fitting, not adult behavior. And it's like you say that this is normal behavior, this kind of being defeated by your own thoughts is normal behavior. Maybe it is normal behavior for women. But you're not really saying, yeah, these thoughts are your own thoughts, women. You need to work on that yourself. And then they say that just fight back against that stuff, but I didn't get really a strong sense this idea that those thoughts that women took ownership of the thoughts they were thinking about themselves. I always got the sense that it was like something that was pressed into their brains by something else from
like
that
a
ad.
gremlin. It's like a gremlin.
Yeah, like a
stuff, and then they just
gremlin in their brain. Because it's like, to be honest, I don't even know how Special K would make an ad that would appeal to someone like me, because I don't want to see these are these humiliating moments I have in my life where I can't actually marshal my own thoughts. I don't want to see that in a fucking ad. I just want to deal with that shit privately. If I didn't fit.
Do you guys remember
Sure.
the Nike Just Do It ads, like where you sort of had the, like there, I remember this one, it had like the woman, in her tights, leggings to go jogging, right, and she puts on her Nikes, and then she does all of this fucking funky, I forget what the fuck it's called, but that kind of urban jumping around like monkey stuff.
Parkour?
That's it. Right, and she goes and she does like a fucking ton of that stuff, and like she's just bouncing all over the place, and then just do it. Right, that is a wonderfully effectual ad. That's just like that's associating these runners with this person who's dedicated enough to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, put on these fucking sneakers and this outfit, go out and frickin' bounce from fire escapes to fucking the lids of dumpsters to to curbs and the whole, and park benches and all the rest, right? Very, very, very effective ad, very motivating, right? Extremely motivating ad, and almost no dialogue in it whatsoever. Like I think all there was just her hitting her fucking alarm clock, looking all sleepy, getting herself motivated to go out, and then the just do it at the end. That is a beautiful, beautiful ad, right? And I think that all of the things, and we should probably bring up the Axe ad at this point, all of the things in the Axe ad hit on that in a really wonderful way, right? Just in a very, very positive way. It's an extremely positive ad.
Well, with the Axe ad, they say, yeah, you have flaws, but work them. With this, it just says, well, you have flaws. Tell your internal voice talking about those flaws to go fuck itself, which doesn't work. I mean, you're basically saying, you're telling these women, if you boil it down, Special K is telling these women to tell themselves to go fuck themselves, and they're calling that empowerment. Okay. All right, and I'm not even for female empowerment, but I would say that that's probably not an empowering message. Go tell that voice that you're telling yourself. Go tell your own voice to go fuck itself. It sounds like that's not going to help if the problem is that you're insecure about something. And the other thing is, it occurs to me, Special K is fattening. Like if you want to get fat, eat Special K. They're telling fat women to tell people, they're pushing a product in which will not make you thin, will actually make you fatter, and they're telling women when they get fatter on Special K to just go tell that voice that says, oh, I wish I was thin, to go fuck itself. That's a little bit shady almost. Yeah, just tell it to fuck itself. When our product fails to work, fails to make you thin, and actually makes you fatter, just go tell your voice, that voice that's telling you I'm getting fatter, to go fuck itself. Ladies, and eat more Special K. Oh, Jesus Christ, that's hilarious.
Well,
it's like a tobacco company.
The whole carb cycle is addictive, right? I've learned.
It's like a drug, and then you feel bad because you binged, and you're like, oh God, look at the spare tire. You're just gonna go. Your Special K is telling people to say, yeah, just sit. You just said just tell the voice that's actually telling you to stop binging to go fuck itself. But it's like the tobacco companies with like a guy with on air, and fine if you choose to smoke, whatever. But a guy with like emphysema, like terminal emphysema and air, and the tobacco company has an ad that says, yeah, just go tell that voice in your head that says, why am I smoking when I can't breathe? Just go tell it to fuck itself. No offense. I don't, because I know you both are smokers. I don't mean to step on your toes. Sorry?
It's okay. We both know it's bad for you.
Yeah, so it's like having a smoking ad where the guy with like the oxygen tube in his nose, and the voiceover on the ad from the tobacco company says, that little voice in your head that says, I wish I wasn't smoking because I can't breathe anymore, tell it to go fuck itself. You smoke till you die.
I will. Thank you very much, but I don't need a tobacco company freaking spokesperson to tell me that. I just know that I'm addicted, and quitting is just not something that I'm interested in. So there you go.
Yeah, but my point is that it's when you look at the Special K ad from that lens, it's getting a little sleazy. Anyway.
All right.
I'll continue.
Acts.
Let's do the acts. Well, no, yes, I said everything. Sorry, I'm a little bit excitable today. All right.
Just a tad.
I'm sorry.
Just a little excitable.
At least I'm not dark, aggressive, and stubborn.
No,
which is what I've been accused of.
You are stubborn, but also mischievous, like Stoffel, the honey badger.
Stoffel. Okay, here we go. This is a lot of fun, so I don't know if we're gonna stop it as often.
Come on, a six-pack? Who needs a six-pack when you got the nose? Or a nose when you got the suit? Now you don't need a suit when you got the moves. Or moves when you got the fire. Or fire when you rock those heat.
Okay, this is just a pause.
Yeah,
for
no,
the inevitable.
Look at all of this, right? You got the geeky guy with the big nose. You got the dude with the suit, right? You got the guy who on the screen right now in fucking high heels breakdancing, right? You don't need all of this shit, right? You don't need the six-pack when you got this. You don't need the nose when you got the suit. You don't need the suit when you got the moves. You don't need the moves when you got the fire. You don't need the fire when you rock those heels, right? Like there is something about you, right? Not every part of you is going to be perfect, but there is something about you that you can actually make excellent. And this is, I think that this is probably the best part of this ad, including being able to break dance in what look like 3.5 to 4 inch high heels.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. But it's like every guy in this is an individual. And that's what's interesting about flaws. I mean, with the female ad, I guess all of the flaws were the same flaw or something. They never really explained what each individual gorgeous model had a problem with her body. Like maybe she had a bit of a stomach. That's it. That's what I saw. Like
what I saw was that the flaws were what made those women individuals, right? That they were going for some kind of uniform ideal, and if they didn't fit in, right, their particular flaw, whether, they have to stuff their bra, like a lot of guys really like tiny boobs. I love tiny boobs on a woman, right? I think tiny boobs are absolutely fucking gorgeous, right? They are, to me, preferable, like as far as like what I'm attracted to. They're preferable to big boobs, right? Like there is always going to be somebody who thinks your tiny boobs are fucking hot as hell, right? And so it just embrace your fucking tiny boobs. You have tiny boobs. A lot of guys like that. Oh my God, right? A lot of women like that if you're a lesbian or if you're bisexual, right? Like, but the whole idea with the Special K ad was that the things that make these women different from each other, that make them individuals, are essentially what is their flaws, right? You know, like, and what's being portrayed as their flaws, right? Whereas with this commercial, it's like every guy so far has something about him that sets him apart from everybody else, whether it's a big nose or whether it's a fashion sense or whether it's the ability to break dance in high heels, whatever, right? But they all have something going for them that's unique, that is not a flaw. It's actually their kind of their selling point, right? I don't know where Allison went.
Oh, am I still here? Can you hear me?
You are still here. Allison is silent. Allison! Oh, God damn it. Oh,
Where do you get the idea? Presumably the ad goes on like that, all right? Or is there a big twist somewhere?
okay, I can call up the ad. Oh wait, I can't present to everybody, can I? Because I'm not in control. But we're gonna just wait a moment while Allison tries to get back. And I'm assuming she's gonna try and get back. God damn it, Allison! Where are you? Where are you, Allison?
Get back here.
Yeah, my daughter is calling you, Allison. So, but no, I think that this particular ad has a very positive message for men, and it's not just that you have flaws and that's okay, but that you can actually take the things that make you different or make you that maybe people would think are flaws, and you can turn them into what you have going for you, and that I think is an extremely positive thing. And it's just like, there you go. That's
I'm trying to see if I can work this thing. I'm not sure if I can.
I'm sure you can present. I just don't know if you can present to everybody. Okay, well, I can see it.
All right.
Have a shitty day, Rachel.
Okay.
It's my daughter leaving for work.
Chat open anywhere? Hang on, I'll see if I can find the chat. I'll find it in another computer. Hang on. Chat, save me. Can you see the thing, chat? Can you see my screen? Actually, I can find out just by watching the thing. Can I?
My name is Lawrence Kimball-Cook, and I'm the...
Shut up. Oh, you can see it. Excellent. All right. Okay. Can you hear it?
Come on.
I
A
can.
Okay. In that case, I think we're good to go.
All right.
when you got the nose. Or a nose when you got the soup.
Yeah, we've seen
When
this.
you got
Seen
the
this, seen this. All right, banana and so forth. All right, where are we going? 20.
or fire when you rock those heels. And heels when you ride those wheels. Looks, man, who needs looks?
Still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
All right.
Looks when you got some balls.
I can't see that anymore. I can't see that anymore. I can't see the ad anymore. I can hear it, but I can't see it. You're not presenting anymore. You're not screen sharing. Oh, God damn it. You there, Mike? I can't see it. All I'm seeing is your little icon. Okay, now, are you screen sharing? Go back to the screen with the ad. Oh my goodness.
I returned. Sorry. Okay. Are you doing a song and dance now?
I was just doing the intermission music from Monty Python.
Right. We are going to try this again. I'm not going to let it defeat us. Oh,
Oh, there's Allison.